Well, the guys have been working hard this preseason. You know, we have a saying, we're just trying to get a little better every day. And I think we've taken that approach to heart. The guys have been competing. You know, we've had a couple closed-door scrimmages. Of course, a number of practices against one another. I think all have put us in a position where we've improved, and we're looking forward to the start of the season. I think our guys are definitely, excited about, playing other players other than themselves in a few closed-door scrimmages right now. With these practices we had prior to the season and the summer, it's a lot of just playing against each other. So I think they're excited. We're all excited to get the season started. Everyone starts back at 0-0 again this year, and let's start, moving forward from there.
What have you learned about your team in these closed-door scrimmages? Do you go about it a certain way of tinkering with lineups and rotations, or do you play it like you would a regular game? How do you kind of go about those preparation-wise, and what did you learn?
Well, we're still in the process of evaluating our players. So we have 10 new guys. So we want to kind of put everyone in situations where we can see what they can do to help contribute to our team. Of course, we want to see what our nucleus looks like out there on the court, and we've done that. We had our guys go out there and play, but also still learning a lot about our new guys. And the best way to learn is not just playing against each other, but playing, different competitions. So, people show different things when they play against other players. And so we were able to kind of get a good look at our guys this fall in doing that as well.
Johnny, when you look at this non-conference slate that you guys are about ready to start with, what stands out to you, and what do you hope to accomplish going through that?
Well, like every preseason, non-conference schedule, we just want to, keep getting better. I think it's successful for us as we keep improving every game. What we want to have happen is we want to play against really good teams. I think we've scheduled really good opponents. Some, have names that you recognize. Some you may not know as well, but we know them. We wouldn't put them on the schedule if they weren't going to be very competitive. So for us, we're looking to go through each one of those games, get better, and keep trying to gain momentum as we head into our conference play.
First game against FIU is next week. What do you hope to accomplish in that game, and what are you kind of anticipating to see from the team?
That's our home opener. First, I hope that we have a terrific crowd. We talk about Big 12 games and so forth, but, that's premature. Before that happens, we want to have great, crowds out here. Hopefully our student section is full and everybody's excited about this year. So I like to see that happen. I like to see our guys continue to build on what they've started so far. That's playing together, playing hard, and playing to win. That's kind of how we approach it. And we want to approach our first game with that same type of mindset.
You said you're still learning about this team, but what do you think some of the biggest strengths are going to be?
I think some of our biggest strengths will be, I think we have good size and we have good depth. So those are two of our biggest strengths. We have guys on the front line that are long and active. I think depth, our strength, as I said before, is in our numbers. I think we have some quality players that we're confident that can come in the game and contribute. So I think those are two of our strengths. And then for us, having some guys return from last year is important. Having, C.J. Walker return from last year, having Darius Johnson return from last year. These guys are experienced. They know what my expectations are. They know what expectations of our program are. And so having those guys, as mature players returning also helps us as well.
Coach, you mentioned the 10 transfers. In your experience, how long does it take for the transfers, like you say, some of those players like DJ and CJ that's been here to kind of gel together so you can kind of put it all out there on the floor?
Well, it's different for every team. It's just a process. Some teams get their chemistry faster than others. And so I think this team has been good with that. They've gotten to know each other this summer. I think they've worked well together. Can we improve? Absolutely. No one's a finished product this early. But, I like the direction we're headed in. All these guys play hard. All of them, I think are very unselfish. They look to make each other better on the floor. And that's what you want to see. And as they get more comfortable with each other, understanding where I like the ball, where you want the ball, where you're the best at on the floor, and they start taking advantage of those situations, we become even better.
You mentioned that you've done a lot of close-door scrimmages, a lot of scrimmaging against each other. Now that you're kind of in almost game week, the first game is on the horizon, how do things kind of crystallize in practice and in preparation with the opener coming up?
Well, things start to crystallize for us, with regard to understanding our personnel a little bit better, who's been consistently doing some of the things we want. Our older veterans have been really good. They've done a really good job of leading our younger players, which I've liked to see. They've been kind of like big brothers to those guys, which I think has helped our younger players get more comfortable in our system. Those things have been things that I've been excited about seeing. And just our leadership. I think our leadership has been really good. Not just our captains, Shamari and DJ, but C.J. Walker, one of our, upperclassmen, Omar Payne, one of our upperclassmen. These guys have done a really, really good job of, I think, setting the table for our younger players to feel real comfortable in our system.
Have you seen any major improvements in any specific players from the beginning of the offseason and practice to now 1 week before the first preseason game?
I don't think I can point out any one player that's really made a huge jump in how they've performed, but all of our guys have been getting better. Getting better in our system. Maybe someone's shooting a little bit better, or someone's rebounding better. But the main thing is all of them are getting better in our system, which is something that I've been excited about seeing. That they're all getting more comfortable in what we do.
What are you seeing from Darius Johnson going into year 3? I mean, I know there was something tweeted the other night. I know it's a secret, but he had a really good performance apparently in this secret scrimmage. But just what are you seeing from Darius now that he's your leader, your captain, going into year 3?
Well, what you're seeing in Darius is a more mature player, a player that's coming to his own, and we all have to go through that as younger players, and so he's finding his way, and he's maturing and growing into that role as we just mentioned, and that's fun to see. It's fun to see his development. There's nobody that works any harder from day one that he steps on this campus than he does. He puts in the work, and it's good to see him learn to reward himself for all the work he puts in. So excited to see his overall growth as we start this new season.
What was your overall approach to putting together this roster with the amount of newcomers, both from the portal and from the prep ranks, and trying to balance immediate competition with long-term sustainability?
Well, it was important for us to have balance in our program. I'm not a person that, believes that all of our players should come out of the portal. I think there's a place for, incoming freshmen to grow and develop in your system. And so for me, we wanted to make sure we had that balance that you just mentioned, that we didn't just take all, portal players. We wanted young people to come in as freshmen and hopefully go through our system and program and mature here. And so I think we did a good job of that. Well, I'll say my assistant did a great job of that, of making sure that, we followed that vision and brought the players in that we thought would fit our program the best.
Coach, how much pride or how much does it mean to you being able to lead this university into one of the strongest, if not the strongest, basketball conference in the country in year 1?
Well, I love that. I feel very grateful for that opportunity to be able to lead the team into the Big 12. Like they said, the last 7 or 8 out of 10 years has been recognized as the top basketball conference in the country. I think as a competitor, as a coach, as a competitor, as a player, as a competitor, what would you rather do? So, of course, I'd rather, us be, going to that conference. I'm excited about the opportunity, and I say I'm grateful to be the coach that actually has a chance to lead us in there, and looking forward to it getting started.
In that light, does that make all of the work throughout the offseason and the non-conference slate even more important as you get ready for conference play?
It definitely does make it more important in how we prepare. Of course, this preseason, is very important for us. As we start to play each one of these games, we have to grow and get better. There's a lot of unknowns of what's going to happen in January when conference play start. All we know is that it's a great basketball conference, but our preparation is done now. And I think the only way you can really truly be prepared is to understand how important this preseason is. I mean, we have to take these games one game at a time and try to be the best we can in each one of these games that we have coming up. January is down the road. I know it'll come fairly quick, but I think our concentration, everything we should be throwing ourselves into is FIU, which is our first opponent, and we should approach every opponent like that, thereafter.
The NCAA has been kind of clamping down on these second transfers. A guy transfers one place and then the next year trying to go somewhere else. Kind of what's your stance on that? I take it some coaches, wanted the NCAA to be a little bit more stricter in that, but just kind of what's your philosophy on what we see going on?
Well, young men have an opportunity to transfer, and I think they have one opportunity to, pick any school they want to pick if they felt they made a mistake the first time. I think if after you've done that, then I think you should have a position where, you should have some, I guess to make up a new word, some stick-to-itiveness, where you try to stick, with a place and try to grow and develop. I mean, I come from a different generation. We came through where it didn't always go well for us when we were playing, and we had to work through it and fight through it and come out on the other side. And I think some of that can help you develop, not just as a basketball player, but as a person. Because life's not going to always just throw you softballs. Sometimes they're going to throw you, curve balls and different other, type of balls. And you have to be prepared for a lot of different things. So I think all the young players absolutely have an opportunity to transfer, right away or whenever they want if they felt it wasn't the right fit the first time. But after that, I think it should be some kind of continuity, some kind of situation where, if you do transfer, that's your right. But, I don't know what the consequences should be, but it shouldn't be just, you should just be able to transfer, every single time that you want, as long as you want. I think these young people aren't really growing and learning, as I just said before, in how to fight through adversity in those type of situations. Because some adversity is good for you. I mean, I don't think, they can fully understand at their age, but some of the things that they're going to fight through between 18 and 22, it's going to prepare them for some battles they're going to have when they're 32, 34. And I think some of these lessons may get lost if we continue just to allow them to just free willy just go whenever they choose to without any kind of consequence, because life has consequences for everyone. And I think, these young people need to understand there are consequences and how do you work through those things.
Coach, Ben Witherspoon recently received a promotion to assistant coach. Any thoughts and insight on how it's going to help this team progress?
We're excited about Ben. He's doing a really good job. He's a young coach who I think has a lot of potential. I've liked how he's developed so far in our program. I think he does a great job with our players. I think they've really gotten to know him well this summer and they've enjoyed him. And I think he's going to do, a good job in our program as he continues to move forward.
This past Friday was obviously Spirit Splash, and you and your team made an appearance. How was that experience?
That was great. I love Spirit Splash. One of the best times around here on campus. I think it's the best tradition in college. People that come out, it's probably 10 to 15,000 people out there. Are you kidding me? Waiting to run into the pond, and it's wonderful into the fountain. It's a wonderful experience, and I wanted our guys to be there as always to kind of see it and experience it. And so we had a number of guys, out there that spoke, but also had a chance to kind of watch the students, run into the fountain, which was like I said, which is always awesome. And so it's just great energy and great enthusiasm. Just speaks well about our university.
Season opener next week. What do you know about FIU?
I know FIU is well coached. I know FIU they're going to play hard. We've scrimmaged them a few times and closed those scrimmages. So it's a very good basketball team. Like I said, it will be well coached. I know they'll play really hard, and like I said, like all the teams that we'll face, in the preseason and going forward. Every team has good players and is well coached, and we're going to have to be prepared, for a battle.
Johnny, health-wise, are you guys going to be all healthy going into the opener?
We're getting there. I'm sure like most teams right now, we are, still a work in progress with that. That's a day-to-day thing in college, athletics, because any practice you can tweak something. And we still have a number of practices before Monday. So knock on wood, I think we're trending in the right direction health-wise, but, we can always be better, of course, but every team is in that same boat with us right now.
With the roster changes so dramatic consistently every year, what do you use as a foundational element to try and build the culture to get everybody to come together?
I couldn't, what'd you say again? I'm
What
sorry.
do you use as a foundational element to try and continue that culture and build it to get everybody to come together in such a short time?
Well, we have our standards here. We've had standards since we first came here, and what we want to have happen is we want our young people that have been with us to uphold those standards. That's why I mentioned the impact of a C.J. Walker or Darius Johnson, guys that have been in our program that know what we want and expect. Not just on the court but off the court. Who we are as young men, and I think those guys help carry the torch forward with what we want to have happen. And then from my perspective as the ultimate leader, is making sure these young people understand, my vision for our program and how important it is to kind of follow that vision for what we want to accomplish here at UCF and in Orlando.
All set?
Appreciate it. Thanks a lot, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys. You guys take care. Now you get to the guys you really want to speak to.